back to the Wild Thoughts podcast. Today we're going to do a fun episode. We already got a little bit of a debate
controversy
in our DMs about this one, but we're going to be talking about, can men and women really be just friends? Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
So
one.
obviously we're going to be focusing on the heterosexual relationships because obviously there's differences when the gay community comes into this. So we're just going to be focusing on the old debate about if a straight man and a straight woman can be friends. Just to say, there's a lot of discussions that come up because of this, because there's a theory that like any platonic friendship between a straight man and a straight woman, it simply can't exist because there's always one party that either falls in love with the other, is attracted to the other, and it causes like tension.
Yeah.
So we're going to be getting into that. But before we dive in, let's start with the high of the week. So Afi.
Oh my God, I forgot. I'm seeing my counselor after a long I'm going to see my counselor. It's virtually after a while. So I'm really excited for that because I feel like I have a lot to dump on her. Sorry. But I always feel good after those sessions. So I'm definitely grateful for therapy.
Love that.
Yeah.
We're also talking in the future tense because we're pre-recording because I'm going to be out of town next weekend. So my half of the week is I'm going to be in New York.
Yeah.
We love a New York trip over here. So we're going to celebrate my mom's birthday, and we have our family friends also coming with us. So we're going to be a big group. It's going to be a ton of fun, and we just love New York.
Yay, it's going to be so fun.
I can't
I'm
wait.
so excited for you.
So
Can I say another one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I get a haircut.
Oh, shit.
I waited
got
like a month
text.
and a half,
I
like
need
2
to-
months. Yeah. So I'm so excited. And I know it's going to like break my bank. No, not break my bank, but it's definitely going to be like, haircuts are pricier, you know?
Well,
I
depends
feel
what you're getting.
I'm just-
Really? They're pricey?
well, not pricey, but I feel like I'm with tip and everything. I'm at least going to spend like
yeah.
$100. But it's okay because I only get it done like literally like
Yeah.
the last time I cut my hair was probably like a year and a half
Yeah,
ago. But
yeah.
I'm really excited. Just the feeling
I
of like,
know. You know what?
getting
I usually
pampered.
get like my hair done like at the beginning of spring. So
Yeah.
like I have to call to like do my roots and
Yeah.
get a haircut, and it's gonna be just in time for spring. It's gonna feel so fresh.
oh my God,
can't
yeah.
wait.
I've been waiting for this one. And I kept checking to see
I've
if
been waiting for this
I've been
one.
waiting. Christopher, watch because I've been waiting, and every time I keep checking to see if like new availabilities open up, and everyone always books the weekend, so it's literally
100%,
it's
yeah.
during a weekday, but it's fine. So yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna take a day off?
No, it's after work. It's like
Okay.
7, so it's chill. Yeah, I was looking for like evening. Yeah,
Oh, we love fresh hair.
yeah.
Oh my God, it's
I'm
gonna
so
feel
excited.
so good.
Yay!
All right. Do you want to do the Instagram poll?
Yes. So we're gonna get into the question of the week. So the question.
Question of the week.
Dun, dun, dun. Is that from somewhere or did you just make it up?
Remember I
told me
was
this.
telling the Lil Anthony thing?
Oh, where did he go? Where's Lil Anthony?
He's not
Seriously.
okay.
Oh yeah, you told me this.
Yeah.
Okay. A discussion for another
Yeah.
time. So the question of the week was, do you think men and women can just be friends? 90% of people said yes, of course. 10%, nah, I don't think so.
Damn.
Ew.
Okay, do you want to say where you
what I
are, or do
think?
you want to wait till after the episode?
Like after we
Like at the conclusion, we'll say.
I
Like,
think
what we
conclusion. Yeah,
Okay,
let's
I like
see
that.
after we discuss. What
Yeah.
do we? Maybe we'll change
Yeah.
our minds.
You guys need to get ready because we have a lot of facts and
A
statistics
lot of
in
facts,
this episode.
right? Yeah, because this is like obviously a lot of things go into play. I feel like
Yeah.
you can't. You have to look at statistics when you think of this.
Yeah. So we brought the receipts.
We brought the
So
receipts
you better get ready.
from the psychologist. Yeah. So first, I think I found this really interesting when reading into it, but you have to take into consideration that this also plays like what plays a factor into the relationship between a straight male and straight female is history and evolution of like gender norms and like a female and a male like biologically too, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm not wording it the best, but it does really depend from person to person. But what I was reading was that before, like back then when humans were evolving, the purpose of a male and female relationship is different than what it is now, because now it's adapted. We're more evolved human beings. But before, men would look at women in a way to receive the benefit of more like a sexual relationship. That's just what the nature of it, and also like reproduction and all of that. And women would look at men more for like protective reason, to feel secure, protection. So it's interesting where it comes from too. It's really like how we've evolved nowadays. So I think that's where the issue is too, is that that's what it was known for from the beginning.
There was like a set dynamic.
Exactly. So it's kind of hard when something's so ingrained to steer away, but then also like biological things come into play, and like hormones, and then like there's so many things that I feel like go into this discussion.
Yeah.
And then we kind of mention it, but it also depends on kind of your attraction towards the other person. You might not find each other attractive in that manner, but then like Kathy said, maybe one party does and one party doesn't. And then when doing research, I also realized that a lot of what makes a difference is the sex of each person, because the way that males see friendships and women see friendships are so different. We're gonna dive into this later on, but it just dating back to like how our minds work and how our bodies work. But I think
the culture too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think that's the whole point of the fact that like there's a lot of research, so you obviously can do more research into this. I'm not giving like a specific number, but it really dates back to like the evolution of human beings, and like even like people were referring to like apes and how they interact and stuff with the opposite sexes. And there is obviously a similarity, because like I said it so many times, but evolution, right? So
I found an article that was super interesting. So it's called Men and Women Can't Be Just Friends by Adrian F. Ward. And this was a research study in the Scientific American. So they just had a lot of facts that I was like, okay.
Juicy.
It was like, okay, I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, men are the problem.
Yeah. Men are always the issue.
For the first study, they brought in 88 pairs of opposite sex friends. So they found that men were much more attractive to the female friend. So obviously. Sorry.
Look at us. We're a beautiful species.
Love that. Men also thought that their female friends were attracted to them, which was a common misbelief amongst the pairings. Females who weren't attracted to their male friends thought the feelings were mutual, but obviously they weren't, because the men found them attractive. Men were also more willing to act on this mistakenly perceived mutual attraction.
I feel like this also has to do with like communication style. For example, like if you're being nice, for like the old backdated stereotype of like if you're being nice to a straight man, he thinks you're like flirting or something. And usually when women get that in return from a man, them being nice, they don't see that necessarily as flirting, but this also dates back to like how we perceive things.
100%.
Right?
And it's also an ego thing. If they think that their female friend is attracted to them, they want to like be like, oh, you know what I mean? They want to like go for it.
To, like, yeah,
exactly. And then lastly, men saw their female counterparts as mutually attracted whether they were in a relationship or not, whereas females only saw their single male friends as attractive. So this is interesting, because I was kind of looking into like my friendships with guys, and I was like, when I was single, I had a lot more single guy friends.
Yeah.
Right now in a relationship, all my like close guy friends are in relationships.
Right.
And I was like, isn't that interesting? I'm like, is that why this is I have this sort of dynamic? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, do you have like single guy friends?
Not a lot. Like, no, not really. And if I do, they're not straight.
Yeah. Exactly. My one single guy friend is not straight.
Like, I have like old coworkers that I was close to, like our kind of group a little bit, but I'm not like super like best.
Yeah, that's what
like,
I'm saying. Like my like besties, the guy friends are all in relationships.
Right. So like
it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And like I would never, you know, like I don't even see them that
exactly,
way.
you know. Same.
It's weird.
That's the thing. Like but then like I don't think anyways.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, another point is this shows that men in particular have a very hard time seeing women as just friends, because they just, if they're single, well, actually, even if they're in a relationship, like we just saw, men just are like attracted to them. And like, it's hard to be friends with someone if you know that they're attracted to them, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
This isn't just to solidify the stereotype that males are like sex hungry and they're just like, they just want sex, blah, blah, blah. And then the females are like super naive and they're just like, oh, no, we're just friends, blah, blah, blah. It's not to say like confirming that. It's just to say that like, this is kind of proof that two people can experience very different views and emotions for the other person in radically different ways, but they could be in a friendship. So it causes a lot of problems because if one of them is like sexually attracted to the other or romantically attracted to the other, the problem is like, do you want to bring it up? Because the friendship is going to change no matter what you do, right?
And I think it's more of an issue if that friend gets into a relationship, right? Yes. Like, I feel like that's when things get really messy.
100%. So there was another study in this article that they took 249 adults, many of whom were married, and they were asked to list the positive and negative aspects of being friends with a specific member of the opposite sex. This was very interesting. So males were significantly more likely than females to list romantic attraction as a benefit of opposite sex friendships. Again, like, I'm going to mention...
Wouldn't you just want a friendship to have a friendship?
Hold on. Again, I'm going to mention most of these men were married.
Oh, I forgot that point. Whoa.
But this discrepancy increased as men aged. So males that were younger, they were 4 times more likely than females to report romantic attraction as a benefit. Males who were older were 10 times more likely to list romantic attraction as a benefit.
Do you think it's because as you age, you look for that? You know what I mean?
Like companionship?
Right. Because why, like, I wonder love? Why is there a discrepancy between, like, why is there such a big difference between when you're young and when you're older in the way that
Maybe it's because when you're younger, it's more of the sexual attraction. And when you're older, you kind of want more romantic stuff.
Oh, okay. So sorry. This is the difference between sexual and romantic?
No, I'm just guessing.
Okay. Right. Or also maybe like... When I don't know.
But it's kind of weird that as you get older, you want a female, like the male wants a female friendship because they want to have a romantic attraction. Like it's kind of weird.
Yeah, true. Or maybe also like as you get older, because most of your female friends are already in relationships. So the ones like you wouldn't just be friends with, you know what I mean? Because of the boundary. I don't know if I'm making sense.
They're probably more likely in a relationship or married. Is that what you're saying?
The ones, like, you wouldn't just casually be friends with someone when you're older as much when you're younger with a woman because they're probably already taken up with someone, if that makes sense. So I feel like there's less opportunity to be just friends with women. So you look for, like, a romantic partner? I don't know. I don't know.
No, but they're saying the benefit to having a friend of the opposite sex is because of the romantic attraction to them.
Okay. Right. So isn't the purpose... So what they're looking for is the romance, no?
Yeah. But in a friendship.
Isn't that not a friendship?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm confused.
The whole point to this article is that they can't be just friends because...
Right.
Most of the time, men are either sexually or romantically attracted to them.
But then why is there such a big difference between when they're young and older?
I don't know about that. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, maybe my guess is like when you're younger, you're looking for more sexual attraction and more to have fun.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're older, you want love. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you're seeking more romance.
I thought they were saying when you're young, you're just looking at them as friends without any romance or sex.
Okay, let me repeat. So they were listing benefits of having an opposite sex friendship.
Uh-huh.
Young men were 4 times more likely than women to list romantic attraction as a benefit.
Oh, okay, so the statistic is just lower, but it's still there.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. I got you.
Sorry if I confused
No.
else.
I was confused.
No,
My
it's
bad.
Okay. It's okay. Then when I was doing research, I found a lot of research about how the thought of being in a relationship with the opposite sex friend is always crossing someone's mind. It doesn't matter if like you stick platonically to the friendship. There's always a thought that crosses your mind. So psychotherapist Dana Dorfman, PhD, she says that a lot of the times in a friendship, the emotional attraction turns into either sexual or romantic thought. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to risk the friendship to actually be in a relationship with them.
Yeah.
But the consideration is very likely just because you're so emotionally bonded to that person that you're like, maybe I should be in a relationship with them. You know what I mean?
I think this thought has already crossed my mind with like childhood friends.
100%.
I grew up with, and I don't find them attractive. It's just that like, because I consider myself like a straight female, and then they're straight male, and then I was like, I know them so well. It just, but then I was like, you know, when you think about it, but you're like, no, like kind of like
100%.
that.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, it happens to women too, you know, it's not just males, but like,
Yeah.
I relate to that.
No, I think like a lot of my younger friendships, if it was a friendship with a guy, the thought always crossed my mind because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, we work so well together. And it's also, well, okay, wait, I'm going to hold on because I have a point about this later.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about it then.
Store it in your head.
Yeah. But yes, I agree with you. So her theory is that even if you're not attracted to your friends, you'll ultimately think, oh, I can never be with them because they don't do X, Y, Z. So they don't do the dishes. So you'll find like these little excuses. But the fact that you're even questioning that and giving a reason to not be with them, you're still acknowledging the possibility and you're still considering it.
Which is what we're basically just like, that's the whole point, is that
exactly
it crosses our minds.
Yeah, it's just, it could be a passing thought, but the fact is, the thought is there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's scary.
It is. No, it's kind of weird.
Ew, no, okay.
Next, we have a behavioral expert, Wendy L. Patrick, PhD.
Oh,
okay, these are the
PhD
facts.
sis.
So she says that men and women can definitely be just friends, but it's very likely that if they're both single, it'll stem into something more romantic.
And maybe it could also be just like lack of companionship. So you want somebody and you know that person super well. Like, you know what I mean? Or you think like next step is like something romantic.
Like, you know those
now
people?
we're just planting these thoughts into people's heads
But
once they listen to
we're
them.
debating, we're having a conversation.
No, for sure.
But it's also, you know, those people that are like besties and when they're young, they're like, okay, if we don't find someone when we're 40, we'll be together. Like,
because at the end of the day, you mostly want someone that you get along with, but you still want that attraction. But then can't that emotional connection build attraction? Like, it's so...
I think personally, I'm a firm believer that if you have an emotional attraction, the physical can grow.
Yeah, for sure.
If you have physical only and there's no like emotional or there's no personality, that can't work.
Yeah.
So I think that if you have a deep emotional connection with someone, the thought is going to cross your mind. Like, I agree with the first psychotherapist.
If you have both, that's great.
I mean, if you have both,
let's get
tension.
That. Yeah.
Okay, then lastly, a licensed clinical social worker, Jennifer Silversheen. I'm going to say that. Don't know if that's right. Sorry about that. They also say that men and women can be friends, but sometimes outside factors. So this is what I was getting at. Outside factors or societal pressures will cause you to consider your friend as a romantic option, even though you might not think of them in that way.
Yeah.
So this is what I was getting at before. If you had a childhood friend that was of the opposite sex and you're kind of considering them, it's most likely because your parents also were like, oh, you guys just look so cute together. Like, you're going to end up together, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Or especially if you're like high school friends, then they're like, oh, you guys should totally date, like, blah, blah, blah. There's always like people like nagging at you to like develop into a romantic relationship. So the thought is obviously going to cross your mind, even though you would never consider them.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost like when you plant that information in someone's head already, because like the influence, right?
Yeah.
Because you said it, they start to think about it, right? So
100%. So this happens a lot, especially with opposite sex friendships, just because, again, like the people that are nagging at you are probably like that older mindset. So they're like, if it's a man and a woman and they're single, they're gonna end up together.
that is kind of sucky. Like, why, especially when you're young, like, why? Well, I'm sure they're not saying it when like super young, but just the thought is like, why can't we just be friends, enjoy, like we're children, or like, why does it have to, you know, let us decide if that ever comes to
you know
that,
what?
You know?
Now that it's kind of weird that like people look at kids and like if they're the opposite sex, they're like, oh, they're so cute together. You got to worry
Why
for
are we
boyfriends.
thinking about
like,
that? Like,
let them be kids.
we're just trying to play with our blocks.
Yeah.
And stuff. Like, stop. Like, no, I think, let's not put that pressure on people. And like, sometimes, like you said, you'll just do it because you heard it so much and you think that that's what it is, but you mix it up with your actual true feelings.
Exactly.
So the next point, like section that I think we wanted to point out is the fact that the way that women have friends and men have friends are generally different. I feel like this is important too because we're talking about friendship, right? Can like men and women be friends? So this study is called, a lot of the information that we got is from a study called, or for this section is called Sex Differences in Intimacy Levels in Best Friends and Romantic best friendships and romantic partnerships. So I believe it was done by the University of Oxford. So, that shit's credible.
That shit's credible. Sorry. We're bringing the receipts.
Yeah. But basically, there were findings and they add to existing evidence that men and women have a fairly different outlook on friendship in general. So I feel like this plays a very important factor, right? Because that means that the way that we evaluate our friendships are different. So we're going to be considering, that's why maybe there's a clash in the feelings.
The thoughts,
yeah, exactly. So while both male and female respondents were equally likely to have a romantic partner, more women, which is 98%, reported having a best friend than did men. So basically, this is saying that women have close, intimate relationships and like more one-on-one talks. There's evidence that describes that, whereas men usually hang out more in groups, casually. They don't really do as in general, statistically, more that one-on-one intimate talk. So the way that my brain thinks is that because women are more like that and men don't have that in their lives, I feel like they get that attached. That's why it's difficult to maintain those opposite sex friendship, because men are lacking that intimate connection with their guy friends. So as soon as a girlfriend pops in, a girl that is a friend, they get automatically something they've never had before. And it's
that
does that make sense?
That makes so much sense.
So that's how first I was like, what did I put this point? How do I make the connection? But that's how I view it. So I feel it's a big
obviously
thing.
We're this is a general
not
because
every person
exactly
is that,
there's some guys that are do have these
exactly
talks, but I do find women are more women are more likely to express their feelings, especially to each other.
Exactly.
And they get into I know our group, we randomly will be having a good time, then we're okay guys,
yeah, we're not scared to do
we're
that.
getting into the deep shit out of nowhere type of thing. So we're more used to talking about that, so it's associated more to friendship.
Exactly.
Whereas for men, I could see it being more emotional and kind of falling for them because they're attracted to that.
Exactly, because with their group of and they don't have that one-on-one person in general. They're more of casual group convos, Men were also more likely to have a romantic partner but no best friend compared to women. So you see what I'm saying? It's once they get that vulnerability from someone else, that imagine you've never had that and you connect with someone because you're not used to it. But for women, we're used to it. So we're not going to fall in love with every man that opens up because we already have that in our friendships.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So researchers say these findings support previous evidence that men have social circles that tend to include a collection, like I said, of casual friendships, whereas women tend to have smaller social circles that include one or two more intimate relationships. So I feel like that's very interesting, because even when I was thinking of this topic, I was not thinking that deep, because I didn't know, right? But when you really look at studies and how we're made and how socially, how we function. So then they found that women seem to be more demanding in their selection of romantic partners than men were. So I feel like that also, so many things play into it.
Yeah, there's also this theory that, I can't remember the phrase, but men will kind of marry the person in front of them type of thing. You know what I mean? And women will have more time to choose because they know what they have to look for. Exactly. But men kind of settle for if you're willing to marry me, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure. That's definitely one of the points. And based on the study, you can see that men and women have basically a different criteria in determining romantic relationships versus friendships. Women are pickier, men are not as much. They don't have a...
They're you're giving me attention, I'm in love.
But maybe because they're not used to it in their friend groups. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But women are used to being vulnerable, so they're pickier because they know they're more in tune with their self-awareness and emotional intelligence.
Yeah, it's the same thing when a girl compliments you, it's oh my gosh, wow. Yeah. But when a guy compliments you, you're okay, I hear this so much.
Exactly.
I don't need it
so
from you.
Unoriginal, but hey, clearly that's why there's an issue here. And then the traits characterizing women's friendships seem more to have to do with the closeness of the relationship itself, whereas those characterizing men's friendships seem to have to do with engaging in social activities. So like you see, obviously this is going into like a detail, but it's more like casual things. Women, it's really closeness and like feeling vulnerable and intimate. I thought this fact was interesting, but it just reiterates the point of like how men prefer like more social activities and things like that. But there was a fact that outgoingness was a predictor for the intimacy of men's friendships. And this might be linked to the fact that males tend to prefer social interaction. So the way that men identify like how intimate a friendship is, if another male friend is like outgoing, like that's them like connecting. Like if someone is outgoing, wants to do like social stuff, whereas females have a strong preference for the one-on-one. So for example, if like I meet someone and she's super like open and just wants to have, like, I'm more connected to them in general, obviously. But basically the whole point of like saying all these things is that these behavioral differences suggest that best friend relationships are viewed very differently by the two sexes, right? Like the way that we are intimate is very different from each other, which may also be why it's easier for attractiveness to form. Like you could say that, for example, males are more easily attracted to the women, like how we were saying at the first point, because they don't have like the same type of intimacy that they would get from their male friends. But a lot of things play into it. And basically this corroborates and extends previous studies, which suggest that the two sexes have very different expectations in regards to friendships and very different social styles. So the way that they socialize, interact, and the things they do. And this strongly suggests that friendship serve rather different functional roles in the two sexes, arising from different evolutionary selection pressures. So yeah, it could be, like I said, it's also about like how we've evolved, like how we are now as humans, which dates back also to the past, right?
Yeah. I think the thing about expectations, though, that you said,
yeah,
I think that's like a main point, because that's what causes the tension. And
yeah.
Like the miscommunication and the misinterpretation of certain things.
Exactly.
The expectations are so drastically different that yes, the man can find that and be like, okay, I'm romantically interested in this person because they did XYZ.
Yeah.
But then the woman, again, like you said, it's like, this is like what I do on the daily.
Right.
I'm just being nice.
You need more. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe like the opposites attract thing can come into play, where like maybe like if we say that males are generally more outgoing, like social activities, and you lack that, so maybe that like, you know, helps. But then you also want a connection and intimacy. If that's what you have with your best friends and you're spending your life with someone, or you're looking for a partner, you may be looking for that in your partner. So you also might need that, right? But in both sexes, the study shows that only a minority of best friends were opposite sex. So there weren't many. 15% for females were opposite sex friendships and 22% males. So clearly it's something. I feel like I truly believe it can still be happen. I think it's just more rare and more difficult especially when you start to be in a relationship. But my final point is, although having male best friends may be really advantageous to females in terms of like protection, and like maybe that helps in getting like unwanted male attention from other people. So it's nice to like have that perspective too, of like having those male friends. And it may be that male partners are likely to become jealous if their romantic partners show too much interest in male best friends, fearing either male theft. This is the whole point of like, if you're in a relationship with someone and then your partner has opposite sex friends, and there may be like, especially in males, like they may get jealous, or like you're stealing them.
I would say especially in males. I think like
women. Yeah, true. You're right. Women too. Yeah.
Like you're saying, like men are so easily influenced,
right,
by just like women being nice, like,
and vulnerable. Yeah, no, for sure, you're very right. So this makes cross-sex best friends less functional. So I think at the end of the day, also, just to look at all these points, basically it's just easier to have same-sex friendships. That was the whole point. Like that was literally the last point. It's just that. But sometimes like it's rewarding having like a male best friend. It's totally fun and you see different perspectives. But like I think just in your day-to-day, on average, it's more common. It's easier. That's why we I think those are kind of like concluding like thoughts. They can exist and be awesome, but they're also very hard to like maintain and manage. And it all depends. Obviously, like this is general. This doesn't apply to every single person on earth. It's different from person to person. It depends on dynamics, personality, like I guess your biology too.
And I think it also sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm done
The
pretty much.
external factors that I was speaking about before is like when you get into a relationship, your partner is going to be thinking that something's going on. So those thoughts are going to get into your mind.
Exactly.
Even more of a mess because you didn't think of them before, but now that your partner is questioning you, you're kind of like, oh, do I?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Even
Oh, my God. But yeah, I think that's like pretty much our thoughts on it. So like, what do
you think?
I'd rather be friends with women. No, I have like I think like when I see, for example, like my friends who are in relationships, I'm super like cool with their people, but like I'm not gonna go. There's a
different dynamic though.
It's different also because I wasn't friends with them before they started dating my friend. Hang out with them, so it's like different. That's not like friends. It's friends, but it's not like friends.
You think you could be besties with a single guy?
If I'm not attracted to them, yeah. I think so. I don't think if I'm not attracted to you, for sure. If I am, then no.
Yeah.
I think that's my answer. If like I can still like be open with you and stuff. Like I have some friends where like I don't see, maybe the thought has crossed my mind, but I never actually I don't genuinely want to. So I believe I can, but if I do find you good looking and I have an emotional connection, it's done. You're my boyfriend. Like you're my partner. We're getting married. Like that's what I haven't found that, which is why I'm friends with my male friends. Like you get it?
Yeah.
How about you?
I think same. I think they can totally be friends if you don't pursue anything. And
right.
Like even if, because I think the thought crosses minds. Like every like friendship that I have had, not every actually, because some of them I see them like as brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of the times when I was single and I was friends with other single guys,
yeah,
the thought would cross my mind. I'm like, do I find them attractive? And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, the thought crosses my mind, and like, let's say I do find them attractive, I wouldn't act on it unless I was like, I want a relationship with this person,
right? Yeah, exactly.
So like, I think if you just like, what's it called? Like repress your impulses.
Yeah.
And like you're strictly like, no, this is platonic. Like even if I'm attracted to them, no, I want a platonic friendship.
Yeah.
I think it can work.
Yeah, I think it can work. I don't think I could do that, but I think it can work. I was thinking of like also when we said the brother sister thing, like, oh, remember when Selena Gomez called Justin Bieber her brother, and then a couple months later she's dating him? Perfect example. No, I'm kidding. Perfect example. Why? No, but also why this was my final thought. I think when we ask ourselves, like when the thought crossed our mind, it's literally, I feel like for me it's like, oh, if I don't, then there's no issue, but if I do, then I have to like create a boundary, you know what I mean? It's literally to evaluate. Yeah, exactly.
Because you're like, no, this is platonic.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like women are able to do that.
Yeah.
And from these studies, I don't know, but I believe that men and women can be friends.
Exactly. Just keep it in your pants.
So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I think this was a fun one.
It was fun.
We presented a lot of statistics, so it might have been like a bit heavy for you guys to understand.
Right, yeah.
But I think just debating on something that's like stereotypically relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Like is it not taboo? It's not really taboo.
But it's kind of like
controversial.
It's like a day old debate.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So a day old.
You said it. I don't know. I think so.
Debate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments down below if you believe men and women can just be friends. Again, this is very heterosexual led, so just focus on that. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all the podcast platforms. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Wild Thoughts Pod, and follow us individually. Everything's linked down below as per usual. And that's about it. So we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.